Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman here with Emily Robinson on the Life After D podcast. We are here on February 16th, 2021. It's like the podcast right after Valentine's Day. Do people get divorced on the day after Valentine's? Do they celebrate it before or do they divorce after?
I haven't seen a trend either way. I'm not sure Valentine's is up there on the priority list. They try to wait till after Christmas, but I don't think they think about Valentine's.
Okay, I thought you maybe celebrate one last Valentine's and then go from there. So
I'm sure some people do.
All right, a lot of things going on with divorce. So this part of the show, we're going to go over the news, the divorce news. We always run into, guilty pleasures of celebrity gossip. We go through things, we'll see things, that's, articles online and sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're hype, and Emily comes in and tells us what's actually going on. So you ready for the news?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's see. Oh, of course, Los Angeles Times. My husband filed for divorce during the pandemic. Am I on the worst reality show ever? Okay, so I don't know if this is something we should go through, but so let's see. Let's just go over it. Let's see what happens. Okay, it was 9 o'clock on Tuesday night, and my husband was putting our daughter to bed as I drifted off to sleep while listening to a murder podcast. Then he popped his head into the bedroom and said, "She's asleep. By the way, I got an attorney," and he filed divorce papers with the court last Thursday. I struggled to understand the nonchalant tone of this person I had promised to stick with until death, telling me that he filed legal papers to end our relationship forever. We'd been struggling, but had both recently committed to making things work, yet he had chosen to sever our bond days ago on our daughter's 5th birthday while I was decorating a Pokemon cake. A court clerk was probably reviewing the documents that would end my marriage. If we scroll down, what right did I have to these feelings when people all over the world were actually dying every day from COVID-19? My gut reaction was to yell at him to get out, to leave and not come back, but where was he supposed to go? I'm just going through this thing. How do you move on and build a fresh new life when you aren't even supposed to leave the house? Let's see. So, I keep hitting new milestones in the pandemic divorce process, like our recent first virtual court hearing. I fantasize about meeting someone else who's going through this and can tell me from the other side that FaceTime first dates have worked, or at least have helped a little. What I really want is to feel connected to someone again in a way I haven't since that Tuesday night, and I want to know how that murder podcast ended. I never did finish it. Okay. So this is Bryn McEachner as a co-host of the podcast Film Springer and a stand-up comic from Orange County. So what do you think? It's just crazy.
Well, I think a lot of people probably would have waited till after the pandemic, but then the pandemic just kept going and going. And so at a point, you might just end up pulling the trigger because this is just our normal daily life now at this point. It is hard because there is nowhere to go if you get kicked out. Like, what are you going to do? But I think most people have just tried to make a new normal now and live their life as best they can. And, if that means finding an apartment or going to a hotel. I think people are less hesitant to do that now because it's like this has been going on a year, and we don't even have an end in sight for people that aren't able to get vaccinated. So it's tough. I understand that feeling, like I'm in my house decorating a cake and I don't even know that this is what he's plotting. But unfortunately, that a lot of people do say they're surprised by divorces, but then they look back and they see the signs, you know. But of course, hindsight's 2020. So I'd say it's more frequent though that people aren't surprised. People saw it coming. They knew there were problems. They'd talked about it before.
Okay, so well, let's continue on it. So APnews.com, this article, Marriage and Divorce Amid Pandemic, Couples Challenges Abound. For many U.S. couples yearning to be married, the pandemic has wreaked havoc on their wedding plans while bolstering their teamwork and resilience. For couples already married, it has posed a host of new tests, bringing some closer, pulling others apart. Spending more time together, common result of lockdowns, furloughs, and layoffs, has been a blessing for some couples who gain greater appreciation for one another. For other spouses, deprived of opportunities for individual pursuits. The increased time together may seem more like a house arrest than a fantasy. This is from Steve Harris, a professor of marriage and family therapy at University of Minnesota. Let's see, for couples who had tendency to use their business to avoid problems, the pandemic has made things infinitely worse. The lockdown has raised the emotional temperature a few notches. Things were provocative before, are now catastrophic. And my earbud fell, AirPod fell. Okay, so this caution is making them less likely to get divorced. Less likely to have a child. So he said, comprehensive national statistics on marriage and divorce during the pandemic won't be compiled for many months, but the numbers available thus far from a few states suggest there's a notable decline in each category. One reason for fewer divorces in many states, access to courts for civil cases was severely curtailed during the pandemic's early stages. Another reason, according to marriage counselors, is that many couples backed off from possibly imminent divorce for fear it would only worsen pandemic-fueled financial security. Let's see. Let's go for a few more points here. Recent months have been busier than usual for Louis Livesay, a lawyer in St. Paul, Minnesota, who specializes in collaborative divorce, a process in which spouses are represented by attorneys seeking to negotiate outcomes fair to both parties. And having more time together has afforded couples time to have those really important conversations. What does it mean to be a family?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, the pandemic is an isolated incident. It's like nothing we're ever gonna see again for hopefully another 100 years or more. And the fact that like the statistics show things are very different during this time doesn't surprise me. I don't expect that to remain. I think once things go back to normal, or at least close to normal, then statistics will probably move more towards back where they used to be. I'm not sure that it will, ever be exactly the same, but I think we're looking at like a isolated period of time here where like a catastrophic event is occurring and people are adjusting to deal with that. But I don't think this is necessarily a long-term change.
Okay, this next one, we've talked about this one before, because I do watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills with my wife because she's into it. So this one, I'm familiar with this couple or this ex couple. So from thedailybeast.com, Beverly Hills lawyer Ronald Richard has a lot to say about Erika Jayne's divorce. The lawyer Ronald Richards had a lot to say about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erika Jayne and Tom Girardi's divorce, which he is feverishly relaying to fans on Twitter. So the curtain fell in November after 21 years together and 32-year age difference. The union between the one-time go-go dancer turned Real Housewife turned middle-aged pop star and a titan of American juries, a big word, jurisprudence. So he represented Erin Brockovich. Remember that case or
Yeah.
the movie? So the fans of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills know the people involved. Yeah, it's me. And the wealth at stake. Erika Jayne is bidding for divorce from 81-year-old Tom Girardi, having boasted on the show about their 2 planes, $40,000 a month clap squad. Okay, I can't imagine like people putting makeup on you and paying that much, but
it's crazy.
Why not? Okay. In December, the saga of Tom and Erika reached an even deeper that year. The man who once battled both drug companies and polluters was so socially potent, he and his wife even hosted a fundraiser for Joe Biden at the private downtown LA Johnson Club back in 2019. Was hit with a suit alleging that he himself embezzled settlement money meant for families of the 189 victims of the Lion Flight 610 out of Indonesia. Let's get to the juicy part here. So they're saying it's, a couple quotes here. It is a gross abuse of public trust. It's so brazen that the scope is so broad, it's hard to believe. It exposes all of Erika's assets to seizures by creditors, and it is part of the estate. So this is a long, so let's see, at the end it says instead, she's posting selfies. It is a point of view that has landed a lawyer in an unexpected place, right smack in the middle of the psychodrama of the Housewives. He even got pulled into a Page 6 story recently when one of the other wives was defending Erika and seemed to, for bullying. So let's say the irony here is she may very well have to pay him spousal support, as she is the only one who is making money. So in a weird plot twist, it flipped.
Wow. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, that's just crazy. But look, with these celebrity situations, it's people read about these and then they'll ask me questions or freak out and be like, is this going to happen to me? Or they're kind of like what I was saying about the pandemic. They're so isolated. These aren't the norm. What happens in these situations. These are people with a lot of money and a lot of publicity and a lot of other factors going on besides just their normal legal case. This isn't what normal people go through when they go through a divorce. But it is true that the spouse earning more may have to pay the other spouse alimony, and that happens with the celebrities too. And it can be the man paying the woman or the woman paying the man or whatever combination. It's just going to be based on income in your situation, and celebrities numbers come out a lot higher than most people's.
So she would be like Erika Jayne. I don't know if you watch it, but she would be. So the story is she's Erin Brockovich's lawyer, who, with these contingency cases, whether it's the airplane one. So he represents them, gets I guess the bulk of the payout. So there's a big age gap. This is what happens in LA. And so at the end, right, because he'll probably get his, I don't know, let's say he gets his assets seized, and she's the one making money. She'd have to pay him. It would reverse. How would this work? Because so when they got divorced, like the particular day, let's say December, he was like, you know, he had all this, I don't know, millions in his bank account. And then after that, she started making money. Now she has to pay alimony to him. That's how it works.
So alimony is based on the standard of living during the marriage. So in the short term, while you're going through the divorce, even if she wasn't the one with all the stuff or making the money while they were together, the court might still order her to pay alimony till the divorce is final. Then if the court looks at it and says, oh, well, that was never how it was while they were together, then long-term, like post-divorce, she might not have to. But usually for the temporary time period, it's just purely a number calculation in a computer program. So while you're going through the divorce, yeah, she might.
Oh, okay. Well,
the idea is your spouses and you have to keep each other on your feet.
Okay, it's good to know. So let's get to the part of the show where it's called, we named this part Dear Emily, where people post about their divorce process, whether they have questions on like child custody, or we even just talked about alimony. So let's see what people have been posting online. All right, here we go. This one's a getting started one. We've discussed and agreed on divorce and are totally both on board, and no fights or ill will, but I don't know how this works since we both want to do it. Do we have to go to court? How do we file? So what's the first step here?
So it's different in different places, but in California, there's a few different ways you can do it. If you're going to file, let's say you're not getting along, you can each hire your own attorney, and one attorney opens the case and the other attorney responds to the case. If you are getting along and working together, there's options where you can even do kind of like a joint petition, but you have to qualify for that there's certain strict requirements. Or you can hire one document preparer or one neutral attorney or something like that, and that person can prepare the paperwork for both of you. So there's a few different ways to do it. Obviously, the less fighting, the less attorneys, the less expensive it is.
Okay. This one's another getting started, mediation versus litigation. Can you tell me what the difference is between mediation and litigation? How does it work between you and your ex-spouse?
So the difference is the process. Basically, with litigation, it's a more contentious process where you typically would each have your own attorney. You don't necessarily agree on things, although you may come to agreements during the process. And you try to work things out through the attorneys, or you go to court and the judge makes the decisions. In mediation, it's a much more cooperative process where you would hire a neutral person, and that neutral mediator doesn't have a vested interest in either side winning. So their job is to try to work out an agreement that works for everybody, try to be fair, neutral. So that's the difference. Some cases are good for mediation, but they involve a level of trust, and you're not going to court. So you have to trust that the person is sharing information with you, disclosing things. You don't have to fully trust the person, but you have to have enough trust that you feel you can do the case without a lot of court and fighting and having to get documents from banks and things like that.
Okay. This is our last post of the day. It has to do with petition advantages, getting started. Hello, I was just wondering, any advantages my spouse would have if I were the one to initiate divorce? We were planning an uncontested pro se divorce.
So if it's California, there is no advantage to filing first or disadvantage. We're a no-fault divorce state. You can file for any reason, and it doesn't matter. The only thing is the filer gets to pick the courthouse, but that's not like there's not that many choices. It's just going to be where you live, your zip code, or if there's a courthouse like central LA, anyone in Los Angeles County can file there. So there's really no advantage. And in another state, there may be, because maybe there's reasons for divorce, or it looks bad if you file, or there's fault-based divorce, but here there's not.
Okay, well, that's good. That's all the time we have for today. Emily, do you have any updates, anything going on with courts?
Well, so as of March 1, LA court is going to be having Zoom hearings for family law. So that will be nice. We haven't had that yet. So that's a big plus. And hopefully as the numbers are going down and people are getting vaccinated, we'll start getting a little more back to normal.
Like so Zoom is mandatory. Is it mandatory? Like, what if you like meeting on Skype or FaceTime, or like, is it mandatory to use Zoom?
Oh, good question. So it's up to the court. So like Ventura, yes, they only use Zoom. LA actually uses something called WebEx. It's not Zoom. So it's whatever the court chose for their platform, you have to use it.
Okay, because I imagine you just need a webcam and you get going and that's it.
Well, you don't, I mean, they send you the invitation and yeah, all you need is a webcam to appear. It's voluntary in LA. You can still go in person. Ventura, for most stuff, you have to actually do Zoom. They won't let you do a personal appearance.
Oh, so you can't, so it's like you got to go. Like, so, okay. I assume everyone has access to like a phone or a laptop that has a webcam. If not, then you figure it out. You borrow someone else's.
Well, if you don't, you could always do voice only too. You know, you can call in and do voice only.
Okay. See, this is what we have to do. Like, I think, I don't know, like after this is, I mean, vaccines are coming and, but I think after it's going to be just like whether you have to go back to work or this is like then going to be the new life. I don't like, some people are like, I don't want to go back to work. I don't want to go back to the office. I can imagine like court, like, right. If you go to court, you're just like this, like maybe some judges like it. Maybe some attorneys are like, they save money and time and they can process things.
Sure. They might keep it like this. We'll see.
Yeah. So
easier for sure.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned
on the Life After D podcast. You get all these updates from Emily. So yeah, let's do this next week again. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.